the expense.
I did not charge her rent because she was in high school.
Did she provide her own food?
No.
The regret.
She actually took care of you for more than a year.
It was very nice, and I was very grateful.
And then there came a time when the room was trashed. How did it get trashed?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Kathleen Ellis is suing her daughter's friend, 19-year-old Taryn Burnsett, for unpaid rent and damages.
Order. All rise. Now, it's case number 113 on the calendar, the matter of Ellis versus Burnsett.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Miss Ellis, who is this?
This is my daughter, Brittany.
Okay, so here we have another one of those. No good deed goes unpunished. I never take in somebody whose own parent kicked him out. Which is what you did.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm sure that there are situations where that works out. I'm sure there also don't send me letters, notes, cards, emails, that you've done it successfully. I only see the stories of my information. Your mother kicked you out when you were how old?
17.
And you were still in high school.
Yes, ma'am.
In what month did she kick you out?
I believe April. I'm not sure.
And you were a friend of Miss Ellis's daughter.
Yeah, from church.
Miss Ellis let you move into her house.
Yes, ma'am.
Into a basement apartment that she had recently refurbished.
Yes.
Was comfortable?
It was very nice, and I was very grateful.
Terrific. And it may turn out okay for you. You graduated high school and lived with Miss Ellis from April until when the following year?
April 13th.
So you lived there for 1 year?
Yes, ma'am.
After you graduated high school. Did you get a job or did you go to school after high school?
I kept the same job that I had in high school. It was at McDonald's. Some point during it, though, I quit. It was very cold, like Minnesota. It was an extreme winter this year, and I went on a graph to see the wind chill and the temperature, how long of a walk it would be before you got, like, frostbite, and it was within, like, 20 minutes.
So you quit the job. When did you quit the job?
I'm sorry, I don't have records of that, but it was for a while.
So you were living, I assume, rent-free while you were in school.
Yes.
When you graduated from school that summer, it wasn't freezing cold. Did you work during that summer?
Yes, I tried in every way that I could to show that I was being considerate and that I had the utmost respect.
I'm talking about financially.
Financially?
Summer
no.
after you graduated? No. What about in September or October?
I believe not.
Did you ever pay any rent to Miss Ellis?
I never paid rent, but I gave her, like, a gift around Christmas.
So she let you live with her for a year, even when you were working, So that was pretty nice. Why don't you tell me what happened and why we're here today?
Yes, ma'am. I believe the main reason is for, like, the disrespect, because she saw that it was, like, in chaos, the room, and she refurbished it when her son moved out, because I imagine her son left it.
Don't tell me what you imagine. She refurbished it when you moved in. And then there came a time when the room was trashed?
Around Mother's Day, sorry.
Well, Mother's Day is in May.
Yes, in May.
So then you were still living there in May? So it wasn't April that you moved out. You moved out sometime later.
I moved out in April. It was May of the year before. I had planned to buy a new mattress, and sorry.
Okay. So the room was trashed shortly after you moved in.
It wasn't shortly after I moved in, because...
Well, after the room was trashed, Miss Ellis let you stay there.
Not after, no. I'm really bad with times.
Well,
but,
this is times. Either she let you stay for a year after the room was trashed, or after the room was trashed, she asked you to leave.
It was a year before. It was trashed for a long time, but I just, like, bought a new comforter and sheets, and I put those on top.
How did it get trashed?
So her son didn't like me. There were a lot of times, I think I might have evidence of this, where he tried to get me kicked out because he didn't like me.
Just tell me how the room got trashed.
I believe that he did it out of, like, a vindictive feeling. I don't know. He wanted me to move out multiple times, and I knew that if I left, because I had to leave when he came over, so I left my room without, and I tried to, like, I moved all my clothes because I didn't want him messing with my clothes. But yeah.
How old is your son?
It was just trash.
My son is 21.
Where does he live?
He lives in Minneapolis. He moved out of my home a year before Taryn moved in.
And where did he move out to go?
To Minneapolis.
What does he do there?
He, right now, I believe, is cleaning homes.
So you're not sure what he's doing?
No.
And he moved out when he was 18-ish?
Yes.
How often did he come home after
He has not been to my house in at least a year and a half. It was Mother's Day of the prior year.
Stand up. Your first name is?
Brittany.
Brittany. What's your brother's name?
Mark.
Half ago?
Yes.
Who else was home?
Me and my sister and my mom. And then he brought his girlfriend, too.
And when he came home with his girlfriend, the defendant left?
Yes. She didn't want to fight with my brother because they've had problems in the past.
And where did your brother and his girlfriend sleep?
They didn't spend the night.
How come? It's not an answer.
I'm not.
We're here, and I'm asking you, what kind of an incident happened with your brother, your mother, and or his girlfriend a year and a half ago?
My brother and my mom got into a fight, and he left and went back to Minneapolis with his girlfriend.
They got into a fight with you present?
Yes.
You were present?
Yes.
They got into a fight about what?
They butt heads a lot. They
Of course.
disagree a lot.
I knew that as soon as he moved out when he was 18.
Yes.
And hadn't been back for a year and a half. So I know something happened because that just makes sense. I have a lot of children, they have friends, so they sort of know that. So on Mother's Day, what were they fighting about?
I don't recall what the exact fight was.
I do recall my son had brought illegal drugs into my house, and I had an issue with that.
That they were using in your house?
Yes.
That they thought it was just okay?
Yeah.
Disrespect was appalling. Sorry.
Scenario. The defendant moved out relatively recently. April?
He moved,
No.
she moved out April 13th.
Right. And what are you suing her for?
I am suing her for back rent for January, February, March, part of April, and for the damages that were caused to the mattress.
Okay. I'd like you to tell me, January, February, and March, she hadn't paid you rent in a year, and you didn't evict her. Now, tell me what happened in January that you're suing for January's rent. She had never paid you rent before.
She paid me rent November and December.
How much?
She paid $200 a month. Before that, I did not charge her rent because she was in high school.
Well, she wasn't
And
in
I
high school.
promised-
She wasn't in high school August, September, October,
Right.
and November.
Right. And that's on me that I did not charge her rent for those months.
Did she provide her own food?
No.
Miss Ellis says that you gave her some money for rent for 2 months. Is that true?
I gave her money around Christmas because she was struggling. I 100%
give
would
her?
have.
How
I gave
much?
her $400, and I would have given her rent if that's what it had been. But if it would have been, then she says that it was 2 months, and then I suppose it would have went on 2 months.
Don't tell me what you suppose.
Okay.
You gave her $400. And in this wind chill and how long it was going to take you to work, so it was wind chill. So you didn't pay her for January, February, and March, for sure. Okay. Now, what evidence do you have that the defendant damaged the mattress?
Oh, I have photographs of the mattress.
I'll take a look at the mattress.
There you go. I also have the receipt showing when I purchased the mattress.
I'd like to see that, too. Okay, this damage to the mattress that I'm looking at, Ms. Burnson, is not damage that the sun caused. Have you seen the photographs?
I haven't, but it was really bad, so.
Well, it's not damage that the sun caused.
I mean,
Okay, I believe that you had an agreement at a certain time to pay her rent, which is why you paid her rent and why you had this elaborate story of wind chill. So I believe that you owe her for 3 months' rent, which is $600, and I believe that you owe her for a mattress, which is $372, leaving a total of $972. I think that that's most reasonable on Miss Ellis's behalf because she actually took care of you for more than a year. She took heat, she took care of your rent, she took care of your food, she took care of whatever had to be taken care of for you. So I certainly believe that that's a minimal cost. Now, you have a counterclaim for $500. You say she got rid of some of your property after you moved out because you couldn't take it with you.
It was changed to $300.
Okay.
It
Well,
was
let's
just
change
books.
it. Let's change it to nothing.
Okay.
$972. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think Judy was very insightful, and I'm happy.
Thought it was an excellent decision.
Extremely disrespectful.
Even though I didn't do the damages, I 100% would have replaced it so she didn't have to do this.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Seifert versus Seifert. Step forward.
Leroy Seifert is suing his former sister-in-law, Judy Seifert, for an unpaid loan to pay for his brother's funeral and the return of family heirlooms.
Mr. Seifert, the defendant is your brother's widow.
Yes,
How long were they married?
2 years.
Did his previous wife pass away, or were they
He
divorced?
didn't have a previous wife.
So the defendant is his only wife.
Yes, ma'am.
How old was he?
My brother was 55 or 6?
55.
55
When he died,
when he died.
and
Correct.
had no children.
No children.
I'm just getting everything
Okay.
straight.
Yeah.
Stepchildren. He had
Stepchildren.
stepchildren.
Well, just so that
But
you know,
none-
shh, don't speak. In the law, when the marital relationship is over, there's no more relationship. They're not even stepchildren anymore.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you know where this was before your husband died?
Yes,
Not we. How did it come into Mr. Seifert's possession?
we took it over there for safekeeping.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Leroy Seifert says his late brother's wife, Judy Seifert, owes for the cost of his brother's funeral and for the return of family heirlooms. Judy is countersuing for a gold pendant and threats.
Okay. In any event, you married him for 2 years.
No.
Did you?
We were married for 5.
You were married for 5 years. In
Yes.
what year did you marry?
2014.
We went to the
Where-
wedding.
Shh. It doesn't make any difference, sir. It really doesn't make any difference. What
ma'am.
you're asking Miss Seifert for is you say that she owes you for a loan that you made to her
Correct.
for your brother's funeral.
Yes, ma'am.
When your husband died, Miss Seifert, was it after it? Did he have any insurance?
Yes.
Were you the beneficiary of his policy?
Yes.
How much money did you inherit as a result of that?
A total of 7,700 and change.
And was that the extent of what you inherited when he passed away?
Insurance money?
No, of anything.
Our home?
Was it his home initially?
No, it was ours.
You bought it together?
Yes, we did.
Okay. How long in total did you know your husband before
Total?
he passed away? Yes.
Approximately 10 years.
And of the 10 years, how many of those years did you live together?
Before we got married, about 4.
So this house was purchased as a married couple.
Yes.
Is that right?
I think yes. Yes.
Okay. And did you bring certain property with you?
Yes.
And I'm sure your husband had certain things that he brought with him. Do you know that it's your responsibility, not his brothers and siblings, to take care of his funeral?
Right.
You understand that?
Yes, I do.
Did you take care of his funeral? Did you pay for it?
Yes, I did.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid him my husband's Corvette, or our Corvette, and a boat and trailer that we had together.
How much was the funeral, sir?
I have it on receipts here, ma'am. I'm not exactly sure what the total was, but it was around $3,000.
Money owed on a loan for
Correct.
brother's funeral expenses.
She came to me and asked me, she told me she didn't have any money to pay for his funeral expenses.
He offered.
And asked if I would...
Don't speak.
Okay.
asked
Don't
if I would
speak.
loan her the money for his funeral expenses. And at first I said no, because how are you going to pay me back? She said, I have a life insurance policy for him that he got for his final expenses that he had taken out 2 years ago, she told me.
Fine.
And so I said, okay, well,
That's
under this,
really odd. He's a young man to do that.
I know that. I didn't know about it until she told me about it that day at my house. And so I said, well, under that situation, I will help then.
Great.
If you can pay me
I want
back.
to see exactly how much you gave her.
I didn't give it to her. I paid for everything and made all the
Well,
arrangements.
then just tell me what it was.
Okay, well,
Not
I have...
about. I don't want to hear an about.
Okay.
I have the cost of the memorial here.
I have $2601.88 on one receipt. I only have 2 receipts, and another one here for $1,530.
For
Those
what?
are the 2.
For
this
what?
is for the plot of land that we've buried him in, and
Okay.
the expenses at the
Okay.
cemetery, and this is for the funeral home for the
Okay.
memorial.
2601, and the other one was for $1,530.
$530. And then there were some other expenses involved in that, too. She came to me and asked me for money for the priest and a luncheon after his funeral, and that's it. That's it.
Yes, you took everybody to lunch. That's your business. 4131 are those two amounts put together. That's for the funeral service and the plot of land. And he took out expenses for his final, and you got the money for that, $7,700. So you have to pay him the $4,100.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I mean, I have a brother. I have things of value. I have jewelry. I live with my husband. I wouldn't think of taking a piece of jewelry and giving it to my brother and saying, would you hold this for safekeeping?
That's what
I have my own house.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Leroy Seifert says his late brother's wife, Judy Seifert, owes for the cost of his brother's funeral and for the return of family heirlooms. Judy is countersuing for a gold pendant and threats.
Now, your husband took out the policy because he didn't want anybody else to have to pay for his final resting. Pay attention.
Yes.
That's it. You have to take care of it, because the other part of your lawsuit is you say you want the value of family heirlooms that they have. Well, you can't have that.
He had.
You understand that?
Yeah.
That all belongs to her. It's in their home. You can't go in picking around and saying, well, that was my grandmother's, that was his. She is his survivor.
Correct.
That's why she has to pay for the funeral.
Correct.
Right?
Thought so.
She also gets to keep all of his property. That's one of the reasons she has to pay for his funeral. That's a quid pro quo.
Okay.
That's easy. Now, you have a counterclaim. Money owed for a gold pendant.
Right.
What gold pendant?
The same one we were talking about.
May I see it?
Yes, ma'am. My father had purchased back in the 70s. It belonged to our family, and one day my brother came over to my house about a year and a half before he died and said that, I'd like you to have this. I want to get a loan on it. And I said, for how much? He said, well, I don't want to keep it at the house because I think Judy might sell it. Okay? And so I said, well, what do you want for it? He said $500, and I gave him the $500 because I'd seen it many times at our family home when we were children.
Just a second. Is what you're telling me, this came into your possession before your brother died?
Correct.
Did you know where this was before your husband died?
Yes,
Not we.
my husband and I.
How did it come into Mr. Seifert's possession?
We took it over there for safekeeping.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It's
Give this
true.
back to the plaintiff, please.
It is true.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's ridiculous.
Judge Judy, sponsored by.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, you're an adult. Your husband was an adult. Why do you have to take what is the reason?
That's his big brother.
Just a second. What would be the reason to take it to his house for safekeeping? You're an adult. Your husband was an adult. What would be the reason to take it to his house for safekeeping? I mean, I have a brother. I have things of value. I have jewelry. I live with my husband. I wouldn't think of taking a piece of jewelry and giving it to my brother and saying, would you hold this for safekeeping? I have my own house with my own safety. What do you want to say? What are you jumping out of your skin? What you're going to say is going to be ridiculous.
Should I stand?
Come on.
Yeah.
I want to say there's people stealing things from her house.
Well, that would
right
make
before he died.
That would make.
That's why my stepfather brought it over to his brother's house.
Who knows who was stealing? Who was stealing things from their house? Sit down.
Friends.
Sit down.
Not friends.
Okay. It's yours.
Thank you.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,131. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next,
The lack of harmony
Did you fall on her violin?
Not that I remember.
and an off-key solo
Hold up.
hits a sour note.
Hold up. Hold up.
Judge Judy.
I'm very happy with it. It came out exactly like I expected it to.
I paid him, more than paid him for what I owed him.
I came here and told the truth, and that's the way it worked.
He's lying.
I believed she was part of our family. I thought there would never be a problem. That's why I didn't get receipts for everything.
Pendant was ours.
Probably get it in writing would be the best.
I hope that everything is fine.
You put down the $1,000.
Money was an issue from the start.
We closed on the house in January.
We and her annoyed ex just can't stop.
What part of don't speak unless I'm speaking to you didn't you understand?
I will be quiet.
No, I'm done with you. You could have been tied to him forever.
Right.
You were probably very lucky because I couldn't live with him for 2 seconds.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Ashley Williams is suing her ex-boyfriend, Robert Reynolds Jr., for money owed for a child she miscarried, an assault, and harassment.
Order. All rise. It's case number 31 on the calendar in the matter of Williams versus Reynolds.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge Party has been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Williams, you and the defendant were involved in a relationship for a period of time, and you claim he owes you for 2 things.
Yes, ma'am.
The first thing is you lived together for a while in your home, and then Mr. Reynolds was going to buy a home.
Yes.
And under the, I think it was the VA bill,
Yes, ma'am.
he was allowed to buy a home without much of a down payment. He just had to put in earnest money, which was $1,000.
Yes.
And you put down $1,000
Yes,
earnest
ma'am.
money, and then you both moved into the house together.
Yes, ma'am.
In what month and year
We closed on the house in January
of this year?
2019.
We?
And so you moved in February?
Yes.
And you planned on living together?
Yes, we did.
When you closed on the house, you said, we closed on the house. Describe that process to me.
Abraham asked us for a down payment of $1,000, and we paid that, of course, prior, a good faith deposit.
What part of don't speak unless I'm speaking to you didn't you understand?
Yes, ma'am. We were required to put down
$1,000, you put down $1,000. Then there was a mortgage. You lived there in February.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Where did you live prior to February? In your home?
Sullivan Road, an apartment.
It was just you living?
1-bedroom apartment.
And how long did Mr. Reynolds live with you?
He lived with me approximately 6 months before he moved into the home.
And Mr. Reynolds, is that correct that
No,
you...
ma'am, it is.
Shh.
No, ma'am, no, it's not Judge.
Just say no.
Yes, ma'am.
How many months did you live
Approximately
with...
1 year. I'm sorry.
How many months did you live with Miss Williams in her apartment prior to moving into the house?
Approximately March to December when I closed on the home in January.
I'm going to ask you again. I'm going to ask you again. How many months did you live with Miss Williams prior to moving out and moving into the home?
Approximately 10 months.
And what were you doing to earn a living in that 10 months?
I'm a disabled veteran.
So you get something from the VA?
And I also work.
What kind of work do you do?
I've been a banquet server, bartender, and a houseman in Atlanta, Georgia since 1999. I worked several venues all throughout the city. I work as a temp agency. They send me off. That's where I met her on the job. I apologize,
I'm
Mr.
really
Trustee.
not interested.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize.
So you are a disabled, and in addition, you do all kinds of other jobs all around the city. And how did you split the expenses for the 10 months that you lived with her? She paid rent in her apartment. Did you pay half the rent?
Yes, ma'am.
How much was your half of the rent?
Approximately.
Not approximately. Rent is never approximately. Rent is always an exact figure.
$100.
You paid $100 a month.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much was the total rent?
I think it's like $400, something like that. Watch. She's on the government subsidy.
All I want to know is, how much was the rent? If you don't know, say, I don't know. You're allowed to say, I don't know. You're allowed to say, I don't know what the rent was, but I gave her $100.
HUD Bash required her to pay $200 to $400 per month. She was in a HUD Bash home.
$240.
Yes, ma'am.
And you gave her you just said approximately.
I apologize, Judge Judy.
Do you know how much?
She would tell me.
You don't
Listen to me. I try to get my husband to say this all the time, these 3 words. We've been together 44 years.
Yes, ma'am.
I still, he can recite the DNA code, but he can't say 3 words. You know what the 3 words are?
I don't know.
That's right.
I've watched you all your life. I've watched you.
Right.
I've watched you.
Doesn't know.
Yes, ma'am.
It must be. They'll make up a number. They'll make up a figure. They'll make it up. But they can't use those 3 words. Somehow it's emasculating when you say, I don't know. How many miles is it from here to Pluto? 4,968 approximately. I don't know is the answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's one. How much was your rent in the apartment where you were living?
$240.
And did he give you $100 a month?
Yes.
Good. So he helped you with the rent. Great. Now, you were able to save $1,000.
Yes.
And if you paid $240 in rent, then there must have been some kind of government subsidy of your rent.
Yes, ma'am.
For what?
I was in a program that paid for partial of my rent.
Do you work?
Yes, I'm a banquet server as well.
So you managed to save at least $1,000. You were able to put that down, and there was an understanding that you would be living together in this house. It didn't work out.
Yes,
so you want the $1,000 back.
Yes, ma'am.
Unfortunately, you don't get the $1,000 back because the $1,000 was put down predicated on the fact you thought you were going to live together. You didn't, in fact, live together, but there was no contract that said it was a loan.
Yes, it was a loan. I emailed him and said it was a loan. It was not a
Wait
gift.
just a second. When did you email him and say it was a loan? Before or after? I didn't ask you anything.
Yes, ma'am. Can I please interject something, Judge Judy?
No.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. It's so funny, though.
Here you go.
No. That's in December. I let you borrow. You sent to him. I let you borrow $1,000. That's ridiculous. You have to have a contract.
You have proof. The receipts.
There's
the
no,
money on.
There's no question that you put down $1,000. The question is, was there a contract between the two of you that at some point, even if you lived together, he was going to return that money? And there was no agreement between the two of you. You have no contract that he was going to return that money, Miss Williams.
All right.
I mean, I read your case, and what I'm telling you is the only thing that has to be returned is an engagement ring. But if you live together and you're planning on living together and it doesn't work out and you put in $1,000 and he paid the mortgage in February and he paid the mortgage in March, you don't get that money back. We don't have a place for that unless there is a contract. Unless when you put down the $1,000, you said to him, Mr. Reynolds, this is a loan. I'm putting down the earnest money for the house, but I expect you to pay it back. And if you agree, I will give you the $1,000. And he says to you, I agree to pay you back. I will give you for the $1,000. That has to be a contract. And there was no contract. You unilaterally telling him in a text message 3 months later, I let you borrow $1,000, it's not a contract. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. The next part of your lawsuit is that, unfortunately, you became pregnant and lost the baby when you were in your 4th month. You claim that Mr. Reynolds is responsible for half the cost of a headstone because you decided to have a burial for the child that you lost, and you put up a headstone.
Yes.
And that cost you how much?
$800.
In what month did that happen?
November 2018 is when I lost the baby.
And you were still living together at the time?
Yes.
I'd like you to tell me the conversation that you had with him regarding the headstone.
The conversation was, there was $400 that I paid.
No. That's not a conversation.
Okay.
Because not everybody memorializes a miscarriage like that with a headstone.
Yes.
In the 4th month. So I would like you to tell me what was the conversation that you had with Mr. Reynolds regarding his participation in paying for a headstone.
He said that he would pay for the monies that's the headstones due because he's the father.
Well, that's what you say he said. I want you to tell me the whole conversation from the beginning to end.
The beginning to end, he said...
Yeah, look at me.
Look at you. Okay. He said add. Yes, he will.
Is that what you said?
No, ma'am. I most certainly did not.
No.
Here's the evidence for the cost and everything that I paid.
It's not a question of what you paid.
Okay.
It's a question of whether Mr. Reynolds agreed to participate in paying for the headstone.
And I asked you... making the child, so he's the father. No disrespect.
You're not disrespecting me. You're just not understanding me.
Okay.
I asked you to tell me about the conversation. You had a miscarriage. And after you had a miscarriage, you had a conversation with him. I said, not every miscarriage is memorialized with a headstone at that term in a pregnancy.
Yes, it's very...
So I want you to tell me about the conversation that you had with him. You said to him, I want to have a headstone. And he said to you, that's the conversation. I'm going to ask you where you were when you had the conversation, what time of the day. I'm going to ask you questions like that because he said that conversation never took place.
Well, ma'am, I was there. I was at the courthouse. I asked him, I said...
You were at the courthouse?
Yes, I was at the courthouse.
What were you doing in the courthouse?
I went in there to get some paperwork.
What paperwork?
The paperwork that I needed to prove that my son was Alfonso Dawson.
Okay, so you needed to go to the courthouse to get a death certificate?
Yes.
Some sort of a death certificate? Did they give you one?
No, they did. I had to go back to the funeral home, yeah.
And then did you get a certificate?
Yes.
Did Mr. Courthouse?
No.
Did he go with you back to the funeral home?
Yes.
And was it at the funeral home that the headstone was ordered?
Yes. It was months later. I got a quote for the funeral. We just discussed the burial procedures at the funeral home at Fonzo Dawson.
So there was no payment at the funeral home?
Yes, we paid. I paid $400.
You paid?
Yes.
Did Mr. Reynolds pay anything?
No, ma'am.
So you paid $400 for a burial?
Yes.
And he didn't pay half?
No, ma'am.
And then you bought a stone?
Yes, the stone.
And the stone was $800?
Yes.
So he didn't pay for half the burial. What made you think he was going to pay for half the stone?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
You see the defendant
Yes.
with her little girl.
Yes.
The little girl was crying.
Yes, she's consoling her. I see this pole that's got a cement in the bottom so the wind doesn't knock it over against my car.
Okay, come up here.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ashley Williams says ex-boyfriend Robert Reynolds Jr. owes for a deposit on a home, a headstone, an assault, and harassment. Robert is countersuing for unpaid rent.
So you paid $400 for a burial.
Yes.
And he didn't pay half. Phone was $800.
Yes.
So he didn't pay for half the burial. What made you think he was going to pay for half the stone?
I was just assuming that he would just go half with me.
Well, that's not something that you do in court, Miss
Okay.
Williams.
Yes, sorry.
Do you understand?
Okay.
So you seem like really a very, very nice lady.
Yes.
And it seems that you were a nice lady, and you were probably very lucky because I couldn't live with him for 2 seconds.
Yes, ma'am. Right.
I couldn't live with him for 2 seconds.
Right.
So a tragedy was averted.
Yes.
You could have been tied to him forever.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, right.
Do you understand?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
could have been tied to...
Right.
Because according to you, things got a little bad. He drinks?
Yes, heavy.
Do you drink?
No.
I sort of know Mr. Reynolds drinks. Do you drink too much, Mr. Reynolds?
I most certainly do not, Your Honor. I always drink a glass of red wine every once in a while for my digestion. My nerves are bad with this young lady, and I have...
Well, you're not living with her for a long time, so how could your nerves be bad? They can't be bad with me.
She constantly lies, disappears, block her phone number.
All right, Mr. Reynolds, I'm done with you, sir. We're done.
I apologize,
And I'm
Judge
ju-
Judy.
just a
Please,
second.
Judge Judy, hear
No,
my case,
listen to
please.
me.
I will be quiet.
I'm done with you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm done with you because your counterclaim is for the rent you say she owes you for the few months that she lived there because she lived in your house and didn't split the mortgage. That's what you want.
Yes, ma'am.
That's good. Goodbye.
Okay. Excuse you.
Judge Judy,
Step out.
please.
We're here today because of a loan.
Get in the courtroom and start lying about there's no tombstone, okay?
We're here for
She never purchased one, okay?
just pain and suffering that I had to go through.
That is not my child. I'm certain, and I wanted the DNA.
The child is his, yes.
Boom, that's right.
Don't deal with no good men, no good guys, yes.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Page versus Jackson. Step forward.
Shalitha Page is suing Brandy Jackson for car repair bills after Brandy's daughter knocked over a parking sign, damaging her vehicle.
Miss Page, it is your claim that the defendant's little girl, that's this little girl here, is responsible for damage to your car.
Yes.
So I'd like you to tell me when that happened, where it happened, and how it happened.
On February 13th, I had pulled up to pick my girls up from the Boys and Girls Club, and I had pulled up in front. My girls were on their way out, and I hear this loud boom. I didn't realize if it was my system or...
I don't care what you heard a boom.
I heard a boom, and so I'm just looking around because I didn't see them, but I hear someone honking, and at that point, I knew that I needed to get out of my car, and so I got out of my car, and when
you say you heard a boom, you know if something hits your car. Did you feel something hit your car?
I have a system in my car.
What?
I have a system in my car, and it was so
That's
I was just
annoying.
like I didn't know what happened. So when I heard the person honking their car, I knew at that point I needed to get out of my car. So I put my car in park. I got out and came around, and I saw these two in the back corner of my car. Her daughter was crying hysterically. She's trying to comfort her, tell my kids to get in the car, and I'm like, I see the sign.
Just a second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The intervening act that caused damage to her car was the fact that you didn't have control of your daughter.
But she wasn't supposed to be parked there in the first place, Your Honor.
Now, do you have any other argument that you want to make? I just made it very fast.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Shalitha Page claims Brandy Jackson's daughter knocked over a parking sign, damaging her car.
You see the defendant
Yes.
with her little girl.
Yes.
Her little girl was crying.
Yes.
I want you to take step by step. So you see her little girl is crying, and
She's consoling her. I see this pole that's got a cement in the bottom so the wind doesn't knock it over against my car. And after I tell my kids to get in the car.
So your children came out
Yes.
of the Boys and Girls Club.
Two of
You
them.
tell them to get into the car, against your car.
Yes.
Okay. Come up here. Tell me your name.
Sydney.
You remember what happened with the lady's car?
Uh-huh.
Do you go to the Boys and Girls Club?
Not anymore, it's closed.
But did you go for a time?
Uh-huh.
And tell me what happened with the pole and the lady's car.
Me and my mom were walking outside, and I grabbed a hold of the pole, and it fell over.
And it fell over. You didn't mean to do that.
Mm-mm.
No, of course not. Okay, go and sit down. You're a very pretty little girl and very smart. Terrific. So, was there a scratch on your car?
Several.
I'd like to see a picture of it.
These are just so you can see what kind of car I have, but there's that. And then here's the actual pole and the damage.
Okay, can I see an estimate for the damage,
Yes.
please? Okay. If anything you want brief, because you're responsible for her damage, $452 is what it's going to cost. You have an adorable little girl who told me that she grabbed hold of this pole.
Yeah.
Whether she grabbed hold of it or she was trying to stand on it, she's your responsibility.
Yes, ma'am.
She's a child. You have to watch her.
Yes, ma'am.
If, because of her actions, the plaintiff's car did not fly into the pole,
No.
there was an intervening act. And that intervening act was the fact that you didn't have control of your daughter. So if you're going to tell me that she wasn't supposed to be parked there because it's no parking, that's not the reason that her car was damaged.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, the reason her car was damaged was because you weren't in control of your child. That's the reason. And it says no standing, no drop-off, no pickup. That's not the reason her car was damaged. So I don't want to hear that. So forget that argument.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the arguments. Your car should not have been parked there. And your second argument in your defense was sue the city, not me, because they should not have put the sign up there. And if the sign wasn't there, then your daughter wouldn't have been able to topple it over into the plaintiff's car.
Right.
Both of those arguments fail. Now, do you have this?
Okay.
Those were the two you made in
Yeah,
your
I'd
defense.
like for you to see these. This is what the sign is in.
I know
which
what the
makes me
sign
think,
is, and I see it.
I think this happened before.
No, that's
Just
Oh.
a second. So now it's happened before.
I'm just assuming by the judge, or by
It
the
doesn't
looks
matter.
of the bucket.
It doesn't matter. The intervening act that caused damage to her car was the fact that you didn't have control of your daughter.
Right,
Your
she
daughter,
wasn't supposed to be parked there in the first place, Your Honor.
judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $452. We're finished.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I witnessed someone parked in the wrong place, and my daughter's a 6-year-old girl, so
her daughter's reckless. I mean, she's a wild child.
I was walking just a step ahead of my daughter. We were holding hands, and she grabbed the pole whenever I wasn't.
Good kid, but a wild child, and so
I wasn't watching her.
she just knows she messed up.
Accidents happen.
Keep an eye on your kids.
Where's her dog? Where's her dog?
A pet held hostage.
If she could settle what she owed me, she could have her dog.
Well, I want to know where her dog is.
Can the owner come to the rescue?
She know exactly where the dog is at.
It's not there. That's a lie. His witness that's sitting down went with us to go get the dog.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
18-year-old Beatrice Barkin is suing her ex-boyfriend's brother, Avis Wright, for stealing her dog.
Order. All rise. It's case number 80 on the calendar, the matter Barkin versus Wright.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Wright, how old are you?
I'm 32.
Who do you live with?
Currently, I got a little situation going on. I live in North Dakota, but I'm currently in Minnesota taking care of some personal problems. So. But I got a house in North Dakota. I live with my wife in North Dakota.
I don't hear a word you said. Currently, you have a situation. Where do you live?
Where do I live? I said I live in North Dakota, but I'm currently in Minnesota taking care of some personal situation.
Where do you work?
I work for MnDOT in Minnesota doing construction.
How many days a week do you work there doing construction?
It depends on what work we got available.
Where's her
sometimes
dog?
I work.
Where's her dog?
Her dog is over North Minneapolis.
Is where?
Is in North Minneapolis.
Dog is?
Is James Avenue.
You do want to get home, don't you?
That don't matter to me.
You want to stay in Los Angeles?
I mean, you don't even know. You don't know what's going on. So
let me tell you what's going on. What's going on is Miss Barkin says she gave you her dog to train.
That's what she
Now,
said.
with your current situation, from wherever you are to wherever you are, you're not in any place where you have a dog.
Exactly. That's my point. Exactly.
So I want to know where her dog is.
Her dog is where I just told you is at.
With whom?
To the place that I reside at. That's where it's at for right now. I live in Minneapolis, man. There's a lot of things going on that
I don't care about your life.
Okay, well, I don't know how to explain. I
don't want to care about your life. Who's taking care of the dog now?
I don't know how to answer your question. I am still taking care of the dog.
Well, you're not taking care of the dog. You're between two different states. How could you be taking care of the dog? You travel with the dog?
I just told you I'm in Minnesota currently now, but my address, you asked me where do I live. My home is in North Dakota, but I'm on probation. I'm on probation in Minnesota.
I only want to know
Well, you
where
asked
the
me a
dog
question,
is.
I will have to explain that question to you.
No, I don't want you to explain.
I don't know what answer you're looking for.
I just want you to tell me where the dog is.
And I just did.
Good. Now, today, as we're standing here, who's watching the dog?
My sister is.
And what's your sister's name?
What's the relevance of all of that?
I want to know what your sister's name is.
That information, because she don't have nothing to do with this dog party. If she could settle what she owed me, she could have her dog. That person don't have nothing to do with it. This lady have not paid nothing. I got evidence to prove everything she talking about is a lie. I just want to go through the evidence and you can face that. But however, me giving somebody else's name, I'm not going to do that.
Mr. Wright, if you had a counterclaim...
I don't want a counterclaim. She going to lose her case regardless because she owed me. I don't owe her nothing. I don't owe her nothing, period.
Let me explain something to you. You got a dog, probably, and you had no right to get a dog because you didn't know how to take care of it. Do you understand?
Know where the dog to stay. The dog stayed with me from the day she bought the dog. It's been in my house the whole time.
Shut up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do us both a favor. Just listen, okay? All right.
You probably had no business getting a dog because it doesn't sound to me as if you chose a very, very together person to train your dog. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. He works construction 5 days a week.
That's
what
a lie.
So, hey, don't speak to me.
I'm sorry, but...
Don't speak to me.
Okay.
Don't speak to me. He says he works construction 5 days a week. Bird, would you take his phone away from him?
I was going to show you.
Take his phone away from him. Bird.
Yeah, your phone. There you go. Thanks.
You got the dog when? His date. How many days has the dog been with you?
From March 31st until May 2nd when I gave him the dog was with me in the night. The dog only spent one night with him. The dog spent most of the nights with me, and the dog spent a night with his niece. And he got the dog from his niece's house when I was at work.
Do you know this address that he's talking about?
He's lying about that. He does not know. He has 2 blood sisters, and I know their names, and I know their address, and I know where they live. He's lying. He doesn't. I know his sister because why? His brother is my ex-boyfriend, so therefore, his brother.
Just a second. Different program.
Okay.
Right now, I don't know where the dog is. Neither do you. I don't know whether he has it, whether he sold it, whether he did something wrong with him. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's a good thing that you didn't do that much bonding with the dog, that it's not a dog that you had for a year or 2 or 3 or 4. I want you to show me a bill of sale from where you bought the dog.
Here you go. Do I bring it inside?
What made you... This is nothing. What is this?
That's my receipt from the lady I bought it from.
It's not a receipt for anything. It's not signed by anybody.
It is a
messages. I'll take a look at Facebook
Yes.
messages.
She purchased the dog.
I purchased the dog. I bought the dog.
Don't speak to her, or I'm sending him back. And he makes you look very short.
I am short. And,
I want to see something that I believe. This is nonsense. It's not a bill of sale. It's not signed by anybody. You go into a store and you can get a receipt like this. It's a nothing.
Okay, but that's the point. I bought it off a Facebook app. I bought the dog from this lady named Shannon. I had to drive like 2 hours away from Minnesota to go get the dog at 9.
So let me see. You said you had texts from this woman, Shannon, from where you bought the dog. Let me see them. This is nothing. It's zero.
These are text messages of when I still owed her $200, and there's a
May I see?
There's
May
a
I
money
see?
order
May I
right
see?
there.
May I see?
The dog was $350.
Shh. I see 150 sent by MoneyGram.
I sent.
Shh. I see $150 sent by MoneyGram to Shannon. I want you to point out, yes, 30th. Don't forget the $200 owed on the puppy tomorrow. I won't, trust me. I'm super excited. Got everything for my puppy. Got it. Now I want to see a picture of the puppy. What kind of dog was it?
It's a poodle mixed with a beagle.
Now I'm going to get back to you. He got the dog for some sort of training. He says you owe him for dog training he did. And if you don't pay him for the dog training, you're not getting the dog back. He doesn't have a counterclaim. That's what the case is about. Now, which sister is taking care?
She's not my biological sister. She's a friend I've been knowing for over 20 years, so.
Well, because she knows your biological sisters. You have two quiet, my mouth is moving. You have two biological sisters. So neither one of your sisters is watching the dog. Who's watching the dog? Listen, let me explain what it's going to cost you. Do you understand?
I'm listening.
I'm going to explain. You're supposed to get an appearance fee for coming on this show. Do you understand? You either get it or not. Your choice. Who is the dog staying with?
I have the dog over in North Minneapolis at the place.
I can't understand you. You have the dog where?
I just told you the same thing I'm about to repeat, and you keep cutting me off. I said I have the dog over in Minneapolis where she don't try to go in the house and break in the house and take the dog multiple times while I had to hide it while she thought I was at work. She know exactly where the dog is at. The lady that the dog is at, I live in that house. And where the dog is at.
Okay. Raise your hand if you tried to go and get the dog.
Both of them.
Raise your hand. Good. Okay, so you know where the dog is?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
You know what the dog is?
It's not there. It's not there.
Because when they went there, I had them get I already knew they was going to go do it.
That's a lie. And
so
plus,
I had to hide the dog.
His witness that's sitting down went with us to go get the dog.
His witness can't even find the knees for his pants. I am going to give you an order that you can bring to a marshal. The marshal will execute that order with you. What we're going to do with the defendant's appearance fee is hold it until you get your dog back. Do you understand? Now, he can go back to Minneapolis. He can go wherever he wants to go. He can do that.
Yes,
but he is going without any money. And the only way he's going to get his money is if you get the dog. Do you understand? Perfect. Wait outside for the order. Thank you.
So it's just that simple.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
If she don't get my money, she's not gonna get the dog. She didn't get my money, so she's not getting the dog.
I needed my money because he's not gonna give my dog back.
From the day she bought the dog been with me. She came from buying the dog straight to me.
He only spent one night with my puppy.
She don't have no time for that dog.
He sold it. He sold
Case. All parties in the matter of Lindsay Clark versus Gilliard. Step forward.
Leanne Lindsay Clark is suing her niece, Janae Gilliard, and nephew, James Gilliard, for the value of a car and a loan for bail.
Miss Clark,
Yes,
the young woman is your niece. Is that your sister's daughter?
my sister's daughter, yes.
And the young man standing next to her is your nephew. That's also your sister's child. Your
Yes.
Same sister.
Yes.
And you are how old?
I'm 32 years old.
And you?
I'm 27 years old.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a program coordinator for a nonprofit organization.
And you?
Forklift operator.
And what do you do?
I was a substitute teacher. I have a degree in elementary education.
Miss Gilliard, you have children. How many?
I have 2 children.
How old are they?
They are 2 and 4.
And they are currently placed with your aunt?
That is correct.
How long have they been in placement with your aunt?
About a year.
You visit? Don't speak in...
Okay.
And they're placed by the courts?
That's correct.
This is what this case is about with regard to you. Your aunt says that there came a time, like sometime last year, that she, who has custody of your 2 children, purchased a car for you. She purchased a car for you, she says, to sort of get yourself back on track so that you could regain custody of your children. So far, does that sound right?
I don't think the children have anything to do with it. I know that she's seen me struggling, and she...
How would I know about your children if she didn't tell me about your children in her complaint?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I assume that you visit the children, or that you visit... Does she take the children for you to see them someplace? Where do you see your children?
That doesn't have anything to do with a car.
Oh, this has everything to do with me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Leanne Lindsay Clark is suing her niece, Janae Gilliard, and nephew, James Gilliard, for the value of a car and a loan for bail.
Okay, she says that, which is probably true, having sat in the family court, that when children are removed, there is usually a plan for the biological parent to regain custody of their children. And usually, since in your case, it probably had something to do with drugs. Court said you have to have completed a drug program, you have to be tested for drugs periodically, you have to be working, and as part of that, that's your plan to get your kids back. And I'm actually was for you to get your children back. Your aunt says that in order to help you with your plan, she purchased a car for you last year. And the agreement that she had with you was as long as you stayed clean, sober, and was working towards getting your kids back, that was the deal. That's why she did it. That's what she says. And considering that there is some objective data that supports that, Ms. Gilliard, A, that you're 32 years old, you have a job, there would be no reason for your children to be out of your custody, placed by the courts with a non-parent, and that you acknowledge in your answer that you had an unclean drug test at some point, which is when your aunt came to get the car. That all makes sense. Those are objective facts. So the story that I sort of put together from that makes sense. But I will allow you, if you like, to clarify anything that I got wrong.
Yeah. Sorry,
just clarify anything. Just clarify anything that you don't tell me the whole story.
The car was purchased off the basis of me keeping my job. She knew that I was walking to work, and she wanted to help me out. In Leavenworth, Kansas, they don't have any public transportation, and she knew I was walking 20 minutes.
Listen to me. Don't tell me what she knew, because in the law, you can't in else's mind what they knew, what they thought, what they cared about, what was important to them. That all calls for the operation of the mind. I want you to tell me subjectively what fact that I just stated for you was incorrect.
And that the fact that she she voluntarily said that she wanted to help me purchase a car.
And why would, now I can ask for the operation of your mind, because you're right here. I can say to you, here is somebody who is taking care of your 2 children, something that she didn't bargain for. I assume, since she bought you this car, that your house is open to her so that you can visit the children. Or that you visit, does she take the children for you to see them someplace? Where do you see your children?
That doesn't have anything to do with a car.
Oh, this has everything to do with me. Do you live with your aunt?
No, I don't live with my aunt.
Where do you see your children?
I see them in Leavenworth, Kansas.
At her house?
No, I don't go to her house.
At whose house?
I have a home that I bring them to.
How often?
What does that have to do with a car? I don't feel comfortable answering that.
Well, that's sort of interesting. That would lead me to sort of a lot of very interesting questions. And that would lead me to a lot, there's something going on here.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your complaint says that the reason you bought a car for her is because it was court-ordered. I don't believe that I will ever see a court order directing someone to have a car.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Leanne Lindsay Clark is suing her niece, Janae Gilliard, and nephew, James Gilliard, for the value of a car and a loan for bail.
Now, usually when you don't want to answer a question, it's because you don't want to get into trouble.
No, it's because kids don't have anything to do with a gift, a car that was purchased as a gift.
Yes, it does.
No,
well, it
doesn't.
Actually, it does, and it's getting more to do with it, because when the children are placed with you,
yes,
they live with you.
They do.
They do. Full time.
Yes.
All the time?
All the time.
All the time?
Yes.
Well, that's not what your niece says. She says she takes them to her house where she has a home.
And she did at one time. She did.
At what time?
When they were having visitation that way. But now we just go down to the office, and that's where they visit.
Well, this is not going to go away.
That's all.
These questions are not going to go to her house.
Yes.
And was that permitted by the court?
Yes.
All right. And then something happened in order to make that supervised visitation.
Yes.
Just a minute. Listen, the two of you can decide that if you don't like these questions, if you don't like my questions, you can say, you know what, Judge, we're going to take my case back to wherever we came from in small claims court, because your complaint says that the reason you bought a car for her is because it was court ordered that she have a job, that she have a car.
Exactly.
Well, there's a second. Not exactly. Court never orders that you have a car. I don't believe that I will ever see a court order directing someone to have a car, that you must have a car. The court will order that you have a job before you can get your children back.
But
so all of this is in the complaint. And pay careful attention, the two of you, so you can look at each other and decide what you want to do. I don't plan on getting off this tear until I find out what's going on. So if you're not happy with this, say, we're going back to small claims court. Thank you very much. Do you understand?
I hear
you
you.
want to talk to him?
Yeah, I don't see what kids have to do with this at all. It's about a car. It's about a car.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
This is very, very easy. Either you're going to answer my questions about your children, the car, where they are, how long they've been there, whether you are taking them to your house now or not. These are all things that I am going to find are important to this car issue. Why she bought you the car, why she came to take it away. And if you're not comfortable answering those questions, you can say goodbye and leave. That's what you're going to do. Say goodbye and leave. If you're comfortable answering the questions, and I'm going to keep answering until I feel as if I have a truthful answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, you may not want to, neither may your brother want to answer questions, but they're going to be questions that are posed. So you want to talk to your brother for a minute?
No, I answer your questions.
Great. When were the children coming to your house? In what months and year?
I don't recall.
Okay, case is over. Case is dismissed without prejudice. Go back to where you came from. And I would suggest that social services go pay a home visit immediately.
Why Judge Judy, can they step out?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy,